All right. Now we're in round 2. Looks like we got some people checking their phones real quick. Let them shuffle up. Go ahead and do the thing. Let them know that we are ready. So,
give them a good stop here. Let them know that they got to get going.
Yep, absolutely.
So both of these decks are fairly quick decks.
Right.
But I definitely think Nia Burn has the speed advantage here.
I don't know. If Kevin has just the ridiculousest draw that his deck can have,
true, yeah,
he's going to be able to go off as early as turn 3.
That is true, and I did. I played in one of these events one time against Kevin, and I did not know what deck he was running, and
right.
he caught me off guard a little bit when he only dropped one land, and I thought maybe he was in trouble, and then he just started dropping Utopia Sprawls and overgrowths and things like that. Next thing I know, he's got I believe it's Satyr Wayfinder. Is that the one that untaps the lands?
That's the Arbor Elf.
Okay, Arbor Elf, right.
And Voyaging Satyr, excuse me.
Voyaging Satyr, yep. And, next thing I know, he's got 12 men in his mana pool off of one land, and that wasn't quite prepared to deal with that at the time, so...
yeah, so looks like we're going ahead and start now.
The Rift Bolt
Suspend the Rift Bolt.
One of my all-time favorite burn cards.
Really?
Yes, I am a huge fan of the Time Spiral block. You can hate me for it. I've been playing Magic for a long time, and I definitely fell for the nostalgia factor a little bit with the Time Spiral blocks. So, and Rift Bolt, I love the suspend mechanic.
Right.
I think it's very interesting. I'd love to maybe see it come back at some point. I may be the only one, but maybe with a little bit more support to make it
a little bit more viable.
Yeah, a little more viable. But I mean, there are some suspend cards that are legitimately
good.
Really great. We got this. We have Ancestral Visions.
That's Greater Gargadon.
Greater Gargadon. Oh yeah, yep. I used to run a Greater Gargadon deck way back in the day.
So we have a reader here on the Utopia Sprawl. Brian's probably not exactly sure what's going on.
Yeah. Bryan is probably feeling the same way I felt the first time I saw that going on.
Got a little bit of talking back.
Oh, we got some comments on the
chat here.
On the chat here.
Looks like it's Sean Carroll. Hi, Sean. He's one of our local players here. Just probably couldn't make it out tonight. It happens. So, thanks for tuning in, Sean, watching our stream.
Interesting, talking about an old mana burn deck that a friend of his used to run, where we just force the mana into their mana pool.
Yeah,
and let them go off. See, wacky. Back in the good old days of Magic, things were a lot wackier.
Looks like we have a fetch into a shock, brings Bryan down to 16. Probably gonna go with the Eidolon here, maybe. It looks like Kevin took 3 off that Rift Bolt. I would assume so. We missed that because we were talking. That's okay.
We're having a good time up here.
It's a little warm up here, but that's okay. So,
he's thinking about what he wants to do.
I'd probably play the Eidolon here if I had one in hand.
Yeah, I couldn't quite see if he had one.
So, Goblin Guide.
Goblin Guide, okay.
Goblin Guide triggers. Hits for 2, misses for Kevin, which is really odd.
Was that another Utopia Sprawl on the...
It was either Utopia Sprawl or Harmonize. And here comes Lava Spike.
Lava Spikes. I actually, out of all the modern, kind of the more common decks you see modern these days, I am a big fan of the Nia Burn deck. I do. I think it's just it's a very common deck, but it's a very well-oiled
All right, so would you call Nia Burn an aggro deck or a combo deck?
Combo deck, interesting. I've never had anybody pose that question to me before. I mean, I guess I would call it more an aggro deck. I mean, you're dropping some real fast haste creatures. You're hitting right face, and then you're sending a lot of Dark Burn right their way. I never see Nia Burn decks really use their damaging spells to go after anything on the board. They usually just send it straight at the opponent.
Right.
So,
I mean, sometimes you have to bolt the bird, though.
Yeah, you do, yeah. I mean, that's what's so great about it. You have those options, and, I mean, Lightning Bolt is just the greatest burn spell that's ever been printed in the history of Magic. So
that's my favorite burn spell. I remember when I first started playing Magic, way back in Mirage. burn wasn't really a thing then. There wasn't a lot. You had bolts and
Yeah, I mean,
a
yeah,
couple
you had
other
lightning
things.
bolt.
Counterspell was real big though. And
Probably pretty shortly after that was when they started phasing out Bolt for Shock, right?
yeah,
Probably
right,
right after
right
that.
about that time. Yeah,
Yeah, and now they've almost, I almost feel like they've decided that Shock is too good, like too damage pool,
Right, like-
because I haven't seen a really just a straight up Shock reprinted in any form.
I don't even think there is a Shock actually in the current format.
No, I haven't seen. So it seems what I've noticed lately is it seems like they are phasing out Shock in favor of maybe some more versatility at a higher cost. There comes the Eidolon on here.
Right after he shocks in a Sacred Foundry.
Yeah.
So this deck, Kevin feels like it looks like he's just maybe one turn away, and I don't know if he's able to get there. I think Bryan may have the last 4 points of damage in a Boros Charm in his hand. So
I haven't been able to quite see his hand.
Kevin's really restricted on what he can play here.
Right, he didn't get any of his one drop
So
creatures out there really up. Looks like he's gonna scoop here.
Right. So he just scoops it up here. Looks like we forgot to start the timer. That's okay.
They're not gonna run out of time in these matches
Yeah.
anyways.
So we have a 1-0 so far for Bryan. That's what happens when you play Burn.
Right, yeah.
You do really, really well, or you do really poorly because you played against the Soul Sisters deck. Or just any incidental life gain sometimes, just gets you there. Kevin's deck looks like it was stumbling because he didn't find any of his creatures, or maybe he was afraid to kind of ship them out.
You think maybe he was afraid they would just get removed?
Yeah, the argument can be made that he was afraid of Searing Blaze.
Right.
So they usually play some number of those main deck.
Right, yep.
Which kills every single creature outside of Big Ol' Spaghetti Monster.
Right.
And the entire deck.
Well, so he's got the it's kind of like a lose-lose situation for Kevin. If he holds on to his creatures, then Bryan can just send the burn at his face. If he plays the creatures, he risks losing them and taking damage from the creatures. And once again, that's why I think Burn is one of the strongest decks in Modern that you can play right now, personally. It's just...
Yeah, it seems to have just, good matchups just all around.
Yeah.
Very rarely does it have a bad matchup, I guess unless it's the Malaria Company deck. Even that's not really that bad of a matchup.
Yeah. I think is Tron deck typically counter to Burn?
You could argue that.
Okay.
If the Burn deck has a great start, where it's turn 1 Goblin Guy, turn 2 Eidolon.
Right.
That hurts the Tron deck because all their spells besides Karn, and Ulamog or whatever big fatties they're playing are all 1 to 3 mana.
That's true.
So,
yeah. If they win that early race, if Burn wins that early race, they're gonna take it all the way.
So
sure.
I think Burn is really strong on the play against Tron, not so good on the draw.
Yeah.
Plus, out of the Burn deck, they're gonna be bringing in their artifact destruction.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
they'll be bringing in their destructive revelries or their smash and smithereens. So, according to Sean, looks like he's saying that Burn loves playing against Tron.
Oh goodness.
So, I'll go ahead and trust your opinion on that one, Sean. I don't really play Burn that much anymore. It's been quite some time since I've played the old Burn deck. I know you like to dive right into it. So, and deflecting
bombs.
Well, I guess that's pretty good against Wormcoil.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, they just kind of I don't care about that. Now, it would be really cool to see the deflecting palm if he brought it in, because it's usually just a one-of.
Right.
If Kevin plays Tooth and Nail, goes and gets Emrakul and Xenagos, and then attacks, and then he hits Kevin back for 30.
That deflecting palm, yeah.
So, Sean's saying that the Eidolon is basically gas in the mirror. If you guys don't know what that means, basically gas, for Magic speak, is kind of saying it's probably the best thing you could possibly ever be doing for that particular matchup. So I guess Eidolon is gas in that particular matchup. So it looks like Bryan actually did bring in the Pass Exile for this matchup. It seems okay. I mean,
It almost seems, I don't know. We didn't see Kevin play any creatures in the last game, and most of the creatures he can play that would help his deck go off, Bryan could have taken care of easily with the removal spells that he already had in his deck. So maybe he's doing it just as a precaution.
Maybe he just knows what Kevin's on.
Right.
So that happens a lot here, especially when tonight we only have an 8-person FNM. So it makes it a little bit more difficult as far as, trying to hide what you're doing.
Yeah, very difficult to hide your deck for long, especially when we have the smaller player pools here.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, especially if you want to play something spicy and new, it's FNM, so it's okay to bring, cool spicy thing that you brewed up in your
yeah
at home,
definitely the more casual
evening
for sure.
It's not like where last weekend I brought Saheeli Rai combo to the Open. Got crushed, by the way, but
you were able to get some good advice though.
Yeah,
so.
I got some good advice on the deck. It was a very big learning lesson, and so Bryan leads off with a mountain, bolts the the bird, if you will. I think Kevin fetched for a basic forest, so
looks like he's gonna crack his land there too. He just played fetched land
again. So you bolt the bird. I'm a firm believer in bolting the bird no matter what.
I mean, it comes down almost. I mean, it all boils back down to our first match we had with the Ponza deck. If you can disrupt the mana base and prevent them from playing any cards at all, that's the best control you can have sometimes.
Right. So, and that's perfectly fine. So Kevin goes and gets another forest. Oh, excuse me, guys. So
drops
and then
Utopia
Sprawl on the untapped land. Probably naming blue. Maybe not. We'll see what happens.
Looks like he just passed turn there.
We'll find out what color he named here real soon, I'm sure. It's never good when you see the burn player counting on the table.
Yeah.
Probably just trying to figure out how many turns it's going to take to kill you.
Trying to do all that math.
Yeah, shocking in to play the Eidolon.
There's the Eidolon, yep.
So he's probably thinking, all right, I've probably got 2 turns and I may have him dead. Kevin has 3 mana, probably 4 mana here soon. 3 mana for an Overgrowth. So he's going to take the 2 from the Eidolon, which that's perfectly fine. Correct, Sean. That was an Arbor Elf. We're just saying bolt the bird just because it's kind of my saying when it comes to Magic. The Arbor Elf does untap the land that has all the enchantments on it, which just lets him basically make a bazillion mana. I know that's not a real number, but bazillion mana is basically all the mana in the world.
Yeah, definitely more than enough mana to cast that Tooth and Nail with the Entwine cost.
Which is exactly what he wants to do. Cast the Tooth and Nail, go get his 2 big monsters, make Spaghetti Monster even bigger, and do the thing. So it looks like Bryan's just going to go ahead and go on the aggro plane with the Eidolon perfectly fine. There's no blockers. Plays a Scalding Tarn. Doesn't look like Bryan's actually drawing any action. Looks like he's just drawing nothing but, lands here. So
right, yep.
Which sometimes happens in the burn deck.
Well, that could be bad for him, but right now he's in a position where Kevin's not punishing him for those draws. So.
Right, and I think, if I remember correctly, Overgrowth adds 2 green mana.
Yep, 2 green mana in addition to whatever
So
else.
he's got 5 mana off of 1 land. Plays a Garruk.
There's another Garruk.
It's our second appearance of Garruk tonight in 2 different decks tonight. So he still has 1 floating. 1 green floating. I think he's trying to maybe find a way. Actually, I think he can Entwine Tooth and Nail here.
You think he can? He might. He might go for it.
Yeah, so I think that's exactly what's
puts
happening.
him up to 6.
Oh, so he's just going to harmonize. Okay. He may not have the tooth and nail in his hand at the moment. So
Definitely. So he's going to go for that card draw there and see
right.
see what he can boost there. And having a card advantage in your hand always is super key.
All right. So he drops another fetch land. I think he still has 2 mana floating. 3 mana floating, maybe.
He should have 2.
Well, so he tapped the loose forest.
Right. So he tapped for 5 and played Garrick and had 1 floating. Then he
Right.
tapped and tapped for 5 again.
But he also tapped the other forest.
Oh, I didn't see him tap that forest.
I believe he still has
So he probably has 3 floating.
3
then,
floating.
right?
So
yeah.
possibly 4. And
We'll see what he decides to do. We didn't get a good look at the cards he drew.
right. So looks like he has 4 mana again. Well, maybe he only had 1 floating. There's a possibility that we just
it's possible
missed
he had more and maybe he just didn't keep track for himself.
Right,
as
so-
well.
So he's going to take 2 off the Eidolon, bringing him down to 12 for the Voyaging Satyr. Our math on exactly how much mana he had may have been incorrect. It happens occasionally. I'm not a
It
math
does,
wizard.
but I mean, we worked it out here, and I don't think we were incorrect. I never saw him cast any other spell after the Harmonize. So
Right.
I mean, maybe he tapped it thinking he was going to do something, and then just decided to play the Satyr and figured it wasn't, worth it to
Right.
keep the land up because he wasn't going to be able to use it anyways.
It's a possibility. So looks like he shocks in the Sacred Foundry to go ahead and hit Kevin for 4 to bring him down to 8. He's going to take 2 himself.
And I couldn't see that because of Larry. Is that the Boros charm there?
That was the Boris charm.
Okay.
It looks like he's just going for the kill right here. Like this next turn, so they're fixing the life totals themselves. I know it's a little bit tough to keep up sometimes. So Eidolon finds a Swift Spear. I don't think that does it either, though. Like I don't think that gets him the win.
Couldn't quite see what it looked like. He had maybe an Atarka's Command in his
Right.
in his hand. He's got the Path. He's got the Swift Spear. Can't
He's
quite
got
see
another
what those
land.
next 2 are.
I think those last 2 cards are extra lands.
Extra lands. So those are
Right.
Get the,
Oh, so actually Kevin didn't take the 4. We just missed that completely.
Oh, did he attack Garrick?
He just used the 4 for the birds trying to kill Garrick.
Oh, interesting.
So
See, that's the thing. I don't see many players really bothering to kill off planeswalkers. They usually just let them hover underneath the ultimate.
I think that's probably still wrong. Just for the simple fact that if he had found another Boros Charm there, like he'd been able to just. I think there was a chance for him to just kill Kevin there.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, Bryan might be just trying to play it safe. I mean,
doesn't want to just die to the tooth and nail.
right, and I mean Garrick is a very aggressive a planeswalker and definitely a big enabler for Kevin's deck as well.
Right.
So he definitely might have probably trying to avoid the tooth and nail there, like you said.
Makes sense. Looks like he's trying to figure out exactly what he wants to do here.
He's looking at his.
I would say that this is a pretty tough turn for Bryan. Does he try to kill? I don't know if he can even kill the Voyaging Satyr this turn, because if I was Kevin, I probably wouldn't even block.
Yeah,
like,
I mean he might.
Unless you just think that you're just dead.
Right. And I mean, he does have the option to path to exile the Satyr, but
Right.
it seems like it wouldn't necessarily be worth it.
I don't even think that's correct, though.
Yeah. So he plays a Swift Spear.
Plays the Swift Spear. He has an Atarka's Command. I mean, he can do 9 to Kevin right here. Right? So
I'm trying to remember what the damage on Atarka's Command is.
it's
off the top
3,
of my head.
and then you can give +1/+1 to each of your creatures.
Okay.
So
And then Swift Spear will get another +1 from prowess.
exactly. So that would put the Swift Spear at 3 and the Eidolon at 3.
Right.
Actually, so he's going to. He's going to fetch again, finding a basic mountain.
And it does look like he used his path on the Satyr there as well.
Right. So,
which gives another prowess tick to the Swift Spear.
Does this just kill Kevin here?
It might. He's got 7 on the board with his creatures.
Right, so he's going to do 3 and probably +1/+1. Did we just get the math wrong?
Possibly.
3. So Swift Spear will get...
So now Swift Spear is 4, 5.
And 5, 6, 7. No.
Did he forget to activate one of his... No, he didn't forget to activate. For the
So
path.
he's at 9. Well, the prowess doesn't matter until they actually do the... Until it actually comes down to the combat damage, right?
Right.
So, here we go. So, Eidolon triggers. So, our Eidolon has 3. I guess so. Kevin just...
Looks like Kevin scooped again.
Maybe we were just off on the math. So, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Right.
That.
And then a Tarkus command brought it to...
Brought him to 9. So the 3 brought him to 9. Did we just...
I mean, maybe it's possible Kevin saw the damage coming in. He showed his hand. He had the tooth and nail. He had the Emrakul. It didn't really look like he had any cards he could play.
Well, hold on. Are they going to a game 3? No, it looks like they're just de-sideboarding.
Yep.
So
it's possible Kevin figured with his life going down to 2 that he wasn't going to be able to make any kind of comeback because he didn't really have anything in hand that he could play.
So we're just going to go ahead and say that I believe Bryan won that matchup. Not quite what I was expecting there. Like, I guess we just literally just miscounted.
We'll have to see when we go down and check in with the players if we did or not.
Yep. So, all right, guys. We're going to try to find you another matchup here soon. Modern's going pretty quickly tonight. Like we said, we got quite a few aggro decks. So, we'll see if we'll be back for the next round or if we'll be back with another game. So stay tuned to us right here. We'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back to Four Horsemen Comics and Gaming in Morgantown, West Virginia.
Yeah, so it seems like there was a bit of a mix-up in that last round there when we checked in with the players. Looked like there was some miscommunication, and Kevin thought lethal damage was coming in, so he just kind of scooped when really it wasn't. Our math was not incorrect. So the players talked it out. They decided they would move to third game there.
Third game.
So
that was kind of cool by Bryan to actually be willing to do that. He didn't have to, obviously, but yeah. So
yeah, definitely a very sportsman-like maneuver, which is always great to see in Magic. You know, a lot of people sometimes can be put off by the bigger tournaments because sometimes the players' attitudes might not be necessarily the greatest. You got a lot of competitive people sometimes who just want to win. So it's always refreshing to see somebody who's willing to be very sportsmanlike like that. And it is Friday Night Magic, so it is pretty casual. Nobody's really gonna lose out on anything big here. So
right, exactly. So, like we said, Bryan was willing to go ahead and do that again for us. We just can't seem to find a right spot for the dice today. We're going to try to work on our overlay here in the future, guys, so you guys can see a little bit better what's going on, and we will go from there. So because Kevin pseudo won that last game, we're just going to let Bryan's going to be on the play this time. He's going to start off with the Scalding Tarn, going and getting Sacred Foundry, probably shocking himself to either, I'm going to say, Rift Bolt Suspend.
That's what you think? I mean, for turn 1
I didn't see his hand, so...
You didn't see his hand? I mean, for turn 1, it's going to be Rift Bolt or it's going to be Goblin Guide.
Oh, we were both wrong.
Swift Spear.
He got us both.
Oh, man. Well, there's nothing wrong with the Swift Spear on turn 1 either.
I suppose. I'd much rather have the Goblin Guide.
Right.
Sean said Goblin Guide. He got us too. Don't worry. Kevin leads off with a Forest into a Utopia Sprawl.
There you go. So both good turn 1s for both these decks.
Yeah, so looks like both decks are a little bit humming right now. It looks like there's another Swift Spear, but no second land for Bryan. Yeah, I think that's just the best play right here. Is just go ahead and lead off with the second.
Yep, he's just going to try to get as much damage in as he can.
Like, the burn deck realistically only ever needs 2 lands.
Right.
So...
yeah, we'll have to see what Bryan draws into on his next turn here.
Well, Kevin is moving right along. He has basically infinite mana. That's a fertile... No, that's a...
Is that a...
Not Fertile Ground, but the other one.
Okay.
The other one drop that also does the same thing.
I can't remember the name of that off the top of my head.
I can't either. That's the one you don't have to name a color for, I believe.
Right. Is it just 1 mana of whatever you produce?
I think it's just you choose what mana it produces.
Okay.
So he's going upstairs for 3 with the Lava Spike.
Yep, that's
2 Swift Spear triggers, and well, they're gonna come in. That's gonna bring Kevin down to 10 real quick, like.
All right.
So
turn
they're
3
making
already down to half.
Right. So it looks like Bryan's making sure there was a little bit of communication error down there before, as what happened at last game. So that's kind of what is going on here. There's
a
Kiora
drop.
I don't remember if this is the Fog Kiora or not.
It definitely. It looks like.
I think it's the other one that untaps lands.
It might. Yeah, from the Zendikar block.
Battle for Zendikar. Yeah. So he's untapping. I believe the untap ability is untap a land or a creature.
Isn't it
or a
untap
creature
a land
and or a creature?
Draw a card or something like that?
I don't know. We're gonna do a little quick research on that. Researching real quick. Looks like Bryan drew the second land, and well.
Okay, it is untap up to 1 target creature and 1 target land. So with the Arbor Elf in play, that definitely can net him a significant amount of mana.
And yes, Sean, 3 mana is infinite in this matchup. As you see,
Yeah.
the burn player is stuck on 1.
Right. I mean, with Kevin's deck, realistically, when we say infinite, I mean it's more than he needs to play anything he wants. So.
Right, exactly. For those of that you care, West Virginia University men's basketball is winning 25-10 over Mount St. Mary's
Oh.
in basketball.
Well, congratulations to
them. A little bit of sports ball updates. I'm paying attention to the game because I watch sports ball. You guys don't have to. I do.
Sports ball. I like that you call it sports ball.
It's for the non-sports initiative.
For the non-sports initiatives. It is a sport. It is played with a ball. Therefore,
Yep.
sports ball.
Exactly. It's about as basically as we can get. Exactly, Sean.
Yeah.
Go local team.
Go local team. Yep. For those of you who are watching the stream and may not know me well by now, you know that I moved to the Morgantown area from upstate New York only a couple months ago, but I am in the full swing of supporting the local school teams here. I've already been to a Mountaineers football game. Definitely a lot of fun.
Wait until the baseball season, man. It's going to be great. We got that new stadium out there at University Town Center.
Oh yeah, that's for the Black Bears, right?
For the Black Bears
Yeah.
and for the university.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know it was for both.
It's
And the Black Bears, they're a farm team for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
that is correct.
One of my favorite baseball teams. I did my colleging in Pittsburgh, so I lived there for a few years.
All right, so it looks like he's just going to 3 redirect to Kiora and gain back 3 of that life that he lost.
So Bryan really wary of the Planeswalkers.
I mean, he knows what he's sending both
Yep.
at the Kiora. Or is it 2 at the Kiora and 2 at you? Looks like he's just like, yeah, I already said 2 at both at Kiora, so
He definitely wanted to make sure Kiora was off the battlefield.
Sean's asking you, why in the world would you ever move to Morgantown?
It's a long story. Maybe sometime I'll tell you guys.
My story of coming to Morgantown, well, it's a long and painful story, so that's probably not the best place for it, but here I am in Morgantown, loving my job, loving what I do, providing content to you guys, trying to maybe start providing a little bit more content for you all, and just kind of working here at Four Horsemen Comics and Gaming.
Yeah, definitely. Since I've started working here at Four Horsemen, it's been a blast. Definitely a great community. I love all the guys that come in here a whole lot. They make it really fun to be here.
Right.
So, I do have some people who are watching the stream reporting to me that they're having a little bit of trouble hearing us. Our volume might be a little low. Sean, can you hear us very well back there at home?
If so, we can
Yeah,
we can adjust some mics and maybe go from there and see what happens. Sean wants to know if you lost a bet.
Did I lose a bet? No. I did it for love, man, to be perfectly honest with you.
For love.
For love, yep.
Said you can be
a little low. Is it Ryan is good? It's
Okay,
probably
so,
because I'm sitting a little bit farther away from my mic. Maybe I'll just get nice
I
and
think it may
cozy
be that
over here.
mic. That
It could just be the mic as well.
So
let me see here. I'll just kind of face hug the mic a little bit. And we'll see.
Right.
We'll see if that makes it a little better.
all right. So we'll see if that helps at all. We move the mics around a little bit. Try to go from there.
All right.
Kevin
continues to enchant that
now
forest.
Has infinite mana, Sean.
1, 2.
I.
Is that
That's a lot.
5 off of that 1 or?
I don't know because I don't know all the different things that are on there. Looks like Fertile Ground,
We have
Overgrowth.
a Utopia Sprawl, a Fertile Ground.
That's the other one, the Fertile Ground. So it's
and
Utopia.
an Overgrowth.
So basically, infinite mana. Thank God he didn't kill the Arbor Elf. So now we're saying that we're a little bit
Okay,
too
now
loud.
people are telling me I'm too loud. Maybe I'm getting a little too friendly with the microphone.
All right, well, we're going to adjust a little bit
Okay.
see if that helps.
Reporting that we're good now. So We'll see. They are on people back home are on a little bit of a delay, so.
So we have another Kiora.
Another Kiora.
Life totals look like they're still at. Oh, they're maybe at 9. We may have missed a point somewheres.
It's hard to see. We can't quite see Kevin's dice here.
Yeah. We're gonna call it 9. That's what it kind of looks like. It's on based off of the other numbers that we can see off those D20s.
Yeah, I mean, with the burn deck, realistically, probably not going to have to worry about getting in that one last exact point of damage. It's going to be overkill. So
yeah, Sean, Kurt's being talked to by people via text message that are also watching the stream instead of joining in our lovely chat, which you are hanging out with us, and we appreciate that so much.
We do appreciate that, Sean. The person reporting to me from their home about the A's watching from a PlayStation, I believe. So the chat function
isn't available
doesn't
for you.
work as well. So
and then we have 23 viewers, which is great. You guys are choosing to watch us.
That's fantastic.
Over some of the other streamers like Newmont, which we definitely appreciate. Newmont's a great guy. Met him a couple times, and really great streamer. So if you guys get a chance to watch him a little bit more, please go out and do that. Support any of the local streamers. So
yeah, it looks like he used Kiora's -2 ability to reveal the top 4 cards of his library. He gets to choose a creature and or a land from among them and put it into his hand. The rest go into the graveyard.
So it looks
he
like
gets the Xanagos.
So he untaps his big forest, plays Xanagos. Xanagos has an ability that once it can turn a creature, double its power,
big.
Give it haste.
It makes them big.
Yeah.
It makes them big and scary. Oh, we got a few. We got a few people. Now that Ryan has pointed out Numad is streaming, we're gonna lose all our viewers.
Yeah, it's okay. If you guys go watch Numad over us, that's perfectly okay. Right, exactly. He's streaming standard. Like, we're streaming modern. It's way more cool. I mean, in all honesty, like, you guys could choose a billion different other people to watch, and you guys are choosing to watch us, and we appreciate that a lot. So,
yep, and Xanagos, as Sean is pointing out, is a creature. I don't know if we caught that. Thanks to all of the enchantments on the forests,
right.
Definitely hitting that devotion target there.
So, and it's gonna get pathed.
Oh, and there he goes.
And Xanagos was a creature. That's the only unfortunate part about this deck is that, you know, Xanagos can become a creature really easily, so it makes it very
Makes him a
susceptible.
little bit more vulnerable, yep, for sure. That's the trade-off with the gods. I do like the god cards. I mean, nothing's more fun than having a big old indestructible creature at a very low mana cost. But yeah, Path to Exile is a cruel mistress of a card.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, well, there comes a, I believe, lethal attack. After, if our numbers were correct.
So you
on
drop,
math, yeah.
Yep. So you drop the lava spike into the Swift Spears.
Oh, I know. So looking at Kevin's hand, he had the Kessig. So what the next turn Kevin was going to do was play the Kessig Wolf Run with Xanagos being a creature.
Right.
Plus the Xanagos with the Kessig Wolf Run.
With the Kessig Wolf Run.
Pump it up really, really big. Then, when he goes to attack, target himself with his ability to give it basically infinite damage to kill you.
Does Xanagos target himself with his own triggered ability?
I believe so. I could be wrong.
Let's double check on that.
Or he could just target that Arbor Elf.
It does look like here like it only targets another creature.
Okay.
But still, with the Kessig Wolf Run, I mean, Xanagos definitely could be big enough to put in a...
Right, or you could just target the Arbor Elf.
The Arbor Elf, too. True, yeah.
So the Arbor Elf, make it like a 15-0 or 15-1, so...
Oh! It was exactly. Let's check that out.
Yep, it was that fetch land that...
So I was proven wrong.
So... That fetch land was what was important in that particular matchup. So even though Bryan was a nice guy and...
yeah, he still took it home. And that's another thing about Burn. Just another thing about Burn that makes it so good is that, especially in the modern format, you do have a lot of people running fetch lands and shock lands to get their mana bases, and they're doing damage to themselves, and that only hurts. That only helps the Burn deck. If they're
Right,
doing
exactly.
damage to
So,
themselves,
we're going to pop it back up here to the booth real quick. As the players, we're basically out of matches at the moment. As you can see, it's been a pretty quick night.
yeah, we have a lot of aggressive decks, like we've been saying, and very quick night.
Yeah.
They've been going by really
So,
fast.
I mean, we may be getting home a lot earlier than we usually do on a Friday night. Not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not a problem here. So
We get to go out, probably not do anything. You got anything planned if we get out early?
if I get out early, I'll
Yeah.
probably just go home and relax.
Watch some TV.
Yeah, I worked my day job before this, so it'll be nice to go home and get some rest.
So also we wanted to kick it back here this for us tonight to let you know about a couple things that we have going on here at Four Horsemen Comics and Gaming this weekend. As I look it up, please, we are
There's quite a bit to read.
so exactly. So once I pull up the event page, my phone is quite laggy today.
Let me see if I can get mine working. It's been working out decently well here.
Here we go. Events, Commander release weekend. If you guys didn't know already that the new Commander product came out this weekend, so it's Commander 2016. The special thing about the Commander 2016 product is that all the commanders in it are 4-color. It's the first time that Magic's ever done that.
Yeah, and the partner ability too, bringing in an interesting dynamic to Commander. They're now allowing people to have 2 commanders as long as they both have partner, which is super interesting.
Yep.
Definitely offers a ton of variations. Somebody did the math one time. It's over 100, I believe.
I think it said 155 different combinations that you can choose as far as what you can choose as your commander now.
Right, definitely a big boost to the pool of possible commanders, which to me is exciting for Commander in general, because you have your top tier Commander decks or your more competitive Commander decks. You tend to see a small handful of commanders that people really like to use if they want to kind of be a jerk.
Unfortunately, I was the jerk today, and the one Commander pod that I played, I built a new Storm deck.
Yeah, I heard it took 45 minutes for you to get through.
It wasn't 45
one turn.
minutes. Probably like 10. But
Probably
like
10.
That was also me not casting certain things because I felt kind of bad.
Well, you felt kind of bad, but not bad enough to
not
storm off. Well, hey, you build Storm deck, you got to storm with it. So.
Yeah, that's the whole point. So what we got going on this weekend, we've got Commander Chaos Pods all weekend, $5 entry. What this does, it puts your name into the bowl of being able to play. These prizes will give us access to, when you put your name to this bowl, you get packs of Eternal Masters. We have a Thrun, the Last Troll, signed by world champion Bryan, a TJ Collectibles messenger bag, which was a judge gift to myself that I donated to the store as a prize because I don't need anymore.
I was wondering where we got that from.
We've got multiple playmats, dual decks. We've got card singles that we can give out. All this weekend, though, we've got 20% off of all legendary creatures, spells that have a converted mana cost of at least 6, multicolored.
All the fun commander cards.
Exactly.
There. Yep.
Multicolored spells, lands that tap for more than one color, artifacts that produce mana or have an activated ability, or any card that you really just want. So, all cards are 20%.
All cards, essentially. Yeah.
Exactly. Because who doesn't want more Magic cards? I know I do, even though I don't really need all of them.
That's true, yeah. A lot of people have a lot of things. But hey, if you're like me, with the new Commander coming out, I'm super excited. But there were too many possibilities, and I haven't even been able to come up with what exact deck I want to build yet.
Right.
So coming in and picking up some discounts definitely sounds like a good idea, especially for people like me who are just still trying to figure out what they want. But,
and then Sunday, we have a unique drafting experience called the Commander Cube. This is actually built by Ryan Alukonis, our other commentator normally, and another level 1 judge here at Four Horsemen. It's a really fun thing to experience if you've never tried it out. So we're going to do that Sunday at 2 p.m. here at the store. Space is kind of limited to about 10 players-ish.
10 players for the cube? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's a pretty large cube. Basically, you draft out the cube. Well, you draft legendary creatures first, and then you draft out the actual cube, which the cube
Right.
has, it's so you can build a commander deck, or you can just limit it down to be like a 40 card commander deck, depending on how many players we have.
Yeah, that is interesting. A smaller
So we
commander
can
deck.
kind of narrow it down and make it more like just a traditional.
Yeah, we do
cube.
have some flexibility there. Yeah, Commander Cube drafts are pretty amusing. I haven't gotten to do too many myself.
They take
but-
quite a while.
Yeah, well, you're drafting a pretty sizable deck there.
Exactly. Well, that covers up all of our messages for right now. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back in just a little bit with the last and final round for here at Four Horsemen Comics and Gaming.